What if I told you the man who played Patton refused his Oscar, the military refused to help the film, and one speech changed cinema forever? This is Patton, and these are 10 strange facts about the film. Fact 10. George C. Scott did not attend the Academy Awards. When he won Best Actor for Patton, he stayed home. He had already won them. He believed acting was not a competition. He called the Oscars a meat parade. The Academy gave him the award anyway. The next morning, he officially rejected it. He became the first actor in history to refuse a Best Actor Oscar. He delivered one of the greatest performances in war cinema and walked away from the trophy. Fact 9. The Pentagon refused to support the movie. The Department of Defense read the script and said no, they did not like the slapping scenes, they did not like showing Patton as flawed. So the production left America. They moved to Spain. Spanish soldiers played American troops. Spanish tanks were painted to look like World War II armor. The military rejected the film, but the film became one of the greatest American war movies ever made. Fact 8. The opening speech was not in the original script. That giant American flag, that powerful monologue, it was written later by Francis Ford Coppola. The speech combined real words spoken by the real General Patton. Scott performed it almost in a single take. No explosions, no music, just silence and presence. It became one of the most iconic openings in cinema history. Fact 7. Another actor almost played Patton. The studio wanted Burt Lancaster first. He liked the script, but he wanted changes. He wanted Patton softer. The studio refused. Lancaster walked away. Years later, he called it one of his biggest regrets because that role turned George C. Scott into a legend. Fact 6. The slapping scene shocked audiences. Patton famously slapped a soldier suffering from battle fatigue. The studio considered removing it, but the writers insisted it stay. When audiences saw it, theaters went silent. It was uncomfortable. It was disturbing. But it showed Patton as human, flawed and volatile. The film chose truth over comfort. Fact 5. The battle scenes were filmed in dangerous conditions. The Battle of the Bird sequence was shot in freezing Spanish mountains. Extras collapsed from cold exposure. Production paused for safety concerns. Medical team stayed on standby. The scale looked epic on screen. Behind the camera, it was nearly chaos. Fact 4. George C. Scott terrified the cast. He stayed in character constantly. He barked orders between takes. He demanded perfection. Co-star Carl Malden later. Working with Scott felt like serving under a real general. Scott did not break character easily. Pause. He was not playing Patton. He became him. Fact 3. The tanks were not real World War II tanks. Most original tanks no longer existed. So the crew modified Spanish military vehicles. They added panels, changed paint, adjusted sound in post-production. Movie magic made them believable. Experts noticed small differences. Audiences did not. Fact 2. President Richard Nixon loved the film. He screened it multiple times at the White House. Some historians believe he admired Patton's aggressive leadership style. Whether coincidence or influence, Nixon later expanded the Vietnam conflict. The connection remains debated. But one thing is clear, Patton deeply impacted American political culture. Fact 1. George C. Scott tried to escape the role for the rest of his life. After Patton, audiences saw him only as the general. No matter what role he played, Patton followed him. Scott once admitted he was proud of the performance, but haunted by it because sometimes the role does not make you famous. It defines you forever. Patton was not just a war film, it was a character study of power, ego and legacy. If you respect real cinema history, subscribe to Movixa, because here we do not just watch movies, we uncover what made them legendary.